Hello, fellow Scorpio. We are going to look at what's keeping you stuck, but more importantly, what you can do to release it and move forward. So let's see what comes through. Spirit for Scorpio. What past experience is most influencing you right now? What past experience is most influencing you right now? Three of Cups. Okay, so we have some kind of celebration or some kind of good time with friends or family. To look into that a little bit further. Tell us more about this Three of Cups, Spirit. For what past experience is most influencing you right now? Some kind of celebratory energy. Queen of Cups. So we have compassion and empathy, but with boundaries, right? She's got this protective energy. She's keeping her emotions protected. So, situation where there was some kind of celebration or some kind of fun, maybe a party or some kind of celebration with friends. Where you were compassionate and empathetic. Tell us more about this, Spirit. What past experience is most influencing you right now? So we have this celebration or party, or this good time with friends, or even family. Having a good time. And at this celebration, or during this celebration, we have a King of Cups and Three of Swords that popped out together. So, more emotions here. Heartbreak and disappointment. Between a Queen energy and a King energy. Is this a relationship? During this celebration, you experience some kind of Heartbreak or disappointment. And it seems to me, so far, either these are both your energies coming through, or perhaps the king is somebody else. And it could be male and female, but it doesn't always have to be, right? But you have this disappointment, heartbreak. Seems like between you and somebody else, something happened. Now the king energy coming through is also emotional maturity, keeping emotions in check, not leading, not making decisions with emotions at the forefront. They're not driving your decisions, or whoever this is. So this king energy is very loving and stoic, very affectionate. So let's move on to the next question here. What belief or pattern did it create? So this situation at this celebration between you and somebody else, where there was this disappointment or heartbreak, what belief or pattern did it create? So that means this thing happened, and then from then on, you were looking at other life experiences through the lens of that experience. What belief or pattern did it create? This Lovers. Okay, so this is unconditional love. This is either between you and somebody else or the love you have for yourself. This is self-love or romantic love. Some kind of unconditional love. Okay. It's my dog. So tell us more about the Lovers card for a belief or pattern that was created from this past experience. Tell us about this Lovers card. Tell us more, Spirit. Page of Cups. So it's like this new, so maybe at the celebration, maybe this disappointment didn't happen, or this heartbreak, maybe this didn't happen between you and somebody else. Perhaps the disappointment paved the way for you to be in search of this new, the Page of Cups is new, and it could be a new relationship, right? But it could also be a new relationship with yourself. We got to figure that out, because as a pattern that this past experience created, this could be you discovering a better relationship with yourself or with somebody else, a pattern that it created. I don't know, because if we're looking at what's keeping you stuck, you're starting a new relationship. Maybe in search of a better relationship. This pattern is all, maybe this pattern it created is always searching for that unconditional love. Tell us more, Spirit. We have Lovers and Page of Cups. This sounds like the start of something new, a new kind of relationship with yourself or with somebody else. How is this a pattern that was created in Scorpio's life? Maybe the love for yourself, choosing yourself, and therefore looking for new things that give you emotional fulfillment. It doesn't have to be somebody else, right? That could just be, it could be looking for anything that's going to give you emotional fulfillment. It could be a project, passion project, or something that fills your cup. The Spirit, tell us a little bit more about this, please. Well, we have the Three of Pentacles. So this is, yeah, so to me that's work, that's the collaboration, meaningful work. So if you're this pattern of unconditional love and starting new things, or wanting to start this one new thing perhaps that creates this, and you know, you want to do it with others, you want to collaborate. Perhaps in the past you were afraid to work with somebody else, or afraid to allow someone to help you. Maybe you're used to doing things on your own, but this created this pattern in you that makes you want to work with others towards this meaningful goal. So Spirit, tell us how this is a bad thing, right? This is supposed to be something that needs released. Maybe you weren't, maybe it created this wanting to do things on your own, but you need to work with others. Let's see. Let's get a little bit more. How is this? Okay, well, let's move on to question 3. Maybe that'll help clarify. So how is that pattern showing up today? So it created this pattern that seems like it could be a good thing, right? How is it? Oh my goodness. How is it showing up today? We're just going to do this here. No, that wants to come out. So let's see. King of Pentacles. Oh yeah, we're on question 3. How is this pattern showing up today? So the King of Pentacles is a type of the energy of wanting to sit and be comfortable and enjoy the finer things in life, right? This is abundance, but as a negative energy, this comes out as kind of like partying too much, right? Excessive pleasure seeking. Tell us more about this King of Pentacles, Spirit. How this pattern is showing up today. Excessive pleasure seeking. So as far as, okay, that makes a little bit more sense. The Lovers and the Page of Cups, this pattern of wanting to, this unconditional love and or this, it doesn't have to be excessive pleasure seeking, but perhaps focusing too much on your abundance. Either a lack of, feeling a lack, like having a lack mindset, or perhaps you're just trying to get to a place where you're not worrying anymore. Meaningful work, abundance. So maybe because you're looking for meaning, you're over focused on abundance, thinking that's going to get you where you want to be. Tell us more about the King of Pentacles, Spirit. For Scorpio, how is that pattern showing up today? King of Pentacles. The Fool. King of Pentacles clarified by the Fool. So this is that new, you're looking for a new beginning. You think this abundance is going to get you this new beginning. You think this searching for meaning and earth energy. Could be grounded energy. Queen of Swords. It's authenticity, truth, clarity. Getting straight to the point. The truth of the matter. So with this new beginning, how that pattern's showing up today. There's some kind of truth. Maybe you're getting that clarity or needing that clarity, or needing that authentic new beginning. Let's get one more on that, Spirit. I don't know, I feel like that one must want to come out here. Another Queen, so Queen of Pentacles. So we have the King of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles. Now the Queen is the nurturer, right? So she's kind of trying to do it all. That's her energy. And maybe that's where the pattern starts to become negative. This trying to do it all. This new beginning, doing too many things, nurturing, clarity, truth, authentic. What you nurture grows. This could be someone who, if you are a mother, but you also, or a parent, right? Mother or a father, who also has a career or wants to pursue a career. You're trying to do it all. And that's not to say that you can't pull it off, right? But when you put your energy into something full-heartedly, then you're inevitably going to be taking energy away from something else. So at any point, something is going to be neglected. Maybe this disappointment was that you thought that you were going to be able to achieve something or go somewhere with something, and it didn't necessarily turn out like you thought it would, but it left you continuously searching for meaning and fulfillment. Now, this is a relationship. I think for some, it might be a relationship with somebody and not something. Because these things show up differently for everyone, right? So if this is a relationship with somebody else and not with yourself, this could be about, this could be about how you are working together with that other person towards this goal of yours. Creating meaning together. So let's move on to the next question here. I still will probably go back through briefly with another deck to see what comes out and see if we can get a little more of a clarification. So what needs to be understood before it can be released? So if we look at this as this new beginning that you're looking towards, or you're already stepping into this new phase of your life, if you're looking at it through a lack mindset, or you're trying to do so much because you feel like everything that you're doing is just not quite right, so then you're trying to do a little more, or trying to fix, or trying to bring in more abundance, not necessarily monetarily, but and you're trying to continuously renew. That's what Scorpios are famous for, right? This new beginning is maybe perhaps another rebirth for Scorpio, where you keep wanting to refine and dig into more of your authentic self. But perhaps doing too much in the process. So what needs to be understood before it can be released? Spirit, what needs to be understood before this can be released? So you don't want to hold on to that mindset, right? That of maybe not feeling good enough, and that maybe that's where this Lover's card, this unconditional love, maybe you're just not ever quite feeling like you're doing the right thing for others. That's why you keep coming back to the drawing board, trying to refine and get that clarity and get that authenticity. But it requires self-love. It requires unconditional love if you're working with somebody else. So what needs to be understood before it can be released? Two of Wands popped out. What needs to be understood, if you want to look at that as planning and looking ahead, as everything that you want to do requires some forethought and planning, instead of just jumping in, which we know with the Fool, sometimes you just need to take that leap of faith and jump right in, right? But it needs to be understood that, or perhaps maybe this is just a reminder that there are good things ahead, right? You don't have to try to control and get ahead of everything. Or perhaps this is the planning. Tell us more about that, Spirit. What is this looking to the future, looking forward, planning? What is coming next? What is this energy for what needs to be understood? Judgment. So you have this planning energy, this looking to the future. what's coming next. And the Judgment is here to remind you to do this review. But like we already talked about, Scorpio is all about rebirth. Judgment gives you a chance to take a look at your life and decide whether or not your actions are aligning with your beliefs. And while I feel like that may tend to be Scorpio's kind of thing, right? This could be a reminder not to be so hard on yourself, because you have done review, you have learned some lessons, and you're maybe just trying too hard. Constantly feeling like you're not good enough, but you are. And things are looking good in the future because you've already done this. Maybe this judgment is about this mindset of that in itself needs to be in review, right? Take a look at your life. Take stock of where you are constantly trying to fix something, like you're not good enough. Constantly trying to renew. This usually works out in Scorpio's favor. We are very aware of ourselves. But this time, this review isn't so much about, this is about your relationship with yourself. How are you treating yourself based on not feeling like you're good enough? Where can you let that go? Because this is how you look to the future and move forward. Tell us a little bit more about that, Spirit. What needs to be understood before it can be released? You have this. Take a look at yourself one more time right now, Scorpio, and not because you're doing something wrong by others necessarily, right? But you're doing wrong by yourself by continuously trying to do right by others. You're feeling like you're constantly not good enough. Like something is always just not right. And that's why you're constantly searching for meaning and trying to help others and do right by others. You want to make sure that you're doing your part, and I think that you are. What needs to be understood? Temperance. So this is, because this is like, you need to calm down because you're doing just fine. Right? Let your emotions flow. Calm the waters. No need to get all worked up inside. Temper your thoughts. Temper your actions. You're doing too much. Chill. So, I'm going to move some stuff over here. And one more question. What is the first step toward healing? And I just read something recently, and I can't remember who quoted it, but it was basically like healing is merely letting go. When you heal, what are you doing? The act of healing an emotional wound is letting go of the thing that is causing you turmoil. It's letting it go. So when we talk about healing, what is the first step toward healing? What is the first step toward letting it go? How do we let it go? How does Scorpio let this go? How do you let this disappointment? Is this self-disappointment? Is this disappointment in... I think this is disappointment in somebody else. I feel like this is self-directed, but others or someone else may be involved. So what is the first step toward healing for Scorpio, Spirit? We have the Five of Swords. So this is that hostility in the mind. This is that all those twisted mind game thoughts, right? Where you're telling yourself, you're playing mind games with yourself. So let go of this. Let's tell us a little bit more about the Five of Swords, Spirit. Oh my goodness, Five of Wands. So this could have to, I mean, this is competition, or that it's a fire energy, and sometimes it could come off as like argumentative or competitive, but it can also come out as standing up for what you believe in. But here I feel like this is maybe this is you comparing yourself to others. This could be feeling like you're not good enough when you're looking at others. So if you need to let this first step toward healing is to let this, you got to take a look at this. These fives are disruption, right? Fives represent disruption. So we have disruption in the mind creates disruption in action. These thoughts are causing you, you know, it's going to direct how you proceed with what you want to do. So if there's something that you want to do, this meaningful work, are you comparing yourself to others? Are you telling yourself you're not good enough? Are you telling yourself, I mean, maybe even for some of you, you might be telling yourself that you could do better than others, but I feel like this is you trying to show up and do the thing like your peers are, and kind of wondering if you can even fit in. Can you even keep up? Can you do this? Or what are you telling yourself here? Beating yourself up. And if it's hostility towards others, I mean, that's got to go, right? Are you having, when you're in competition with others, sometimes what causes hostility towards your peers and this competition type thing is because deep down you don't feel like you're good enough, right? And that creates this outward competitive energy where you feel like you need to prove yourself. Now, there's nothing wrong with speaking up, and, you know, that's your solar plexus, that's your fire energy, right? That's your power, your confidence, and you want to show up for yourself. Absolutely. But don't do it to the detriment of tearing yourself down, and don't do it to the detriment of tearing others down. So let's get one more on this one here. What is the first step toward healing or letting go? Oh, I got the World. So I feel like Spirit is just kind of saying, you know, the world is ready to receive you. You're capable of doing this meaningful work. But this other stuff has to go. Once you see that you are good enough and you can, instead of swinging your wand, what if you stood side by side with these other individuals? What if you could just stand right next to these people instead of across from them in combat or in some kind of oppositional or competitive energy? Okay, so I'm going to do symbol cards. So let's do what past experience is most influencing you right now. Let's get a symbol card on question number 1 here, Spirit. Lucky. What is this lucky energy from the past? Something good. There was a good situation that created some kind of disappointment. Yeah. What belief or pattern did it create? So we have this unconditional love energy, this starting something new, emotional fulfilling, and this meaningful work, this collaboration. Truth. So there's a a truth energy, a clarifying energy, and authentic energy. That's more swords. How is that pattern showing up today? Grounded. So I did mention that grounded energy from the King of Pentacles earlier. So we have this grounded, abundant energy. Maybe this is creating stability in your life during this new beginning. Or a need for grounding, right? Nurturing too many things at once, constantly searching for truth and clarity can leave you a little ungrounded. What needs to be understood before it can be released? Nature spirits. So that's more of the needing to, that's needing to get out in nature, right? Needing to ground yourself and temper your emotions, temper your actions. Because if you just look to the future, you look forward and plan, you don't need to be constantly examining every little thing about yourself. What is the first step toward healing? What is the first step toward releasing this energy? Spiritual cleansing. So that's where you want to do the spiritual cleansing so that you can purify these hostile thoughts towards yourself and towards others. Spiritual cleansing. Cleanse your spirit, cleanse your mind, cleanse your thoughts towards yourself and others, because the world is waiting. Well, Scorpio, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. I hope it was helpful, and I hope it resonated. Bye.